Hey everybody, here are some of those top weather stories we are following for your Tuesday's fast forecast. Search and rescue efforts are ongoing in Middle Tennessee today. At least 21 people were killed and dozens are still missing in Waverly, Tennessee and surrounding cities. Now, as you may know about this catastrophic flooding that happened on Saturday, they got about 17 inches of rain in just one day. That shattered their old state record. And as you take a look at some of this damage video, a lot of the officials saying this looks more like tornado damage with cars stacked on top of each other, as well as the houses completely ripped off their foundations. If you've seen any of the stories that are popping up on social media, they're absolutely gut-wrenching, hearing people clinging to pillars on their front porches before their homes were swept away, children being swept out of their parents' arms, and the stories continue to come out of that region that are just absolutely unbearable. If you'd like to help this region of the country, there are many GoFundMe pages that have been set up. You can find those on social media channels. Make sure that you're checking in with the local officials there out of Waverly, Tennessee, that are spearheading most of those efforts. By the way, the officials there say the damage swath is about 10 miles long, and that's because this region of Tennessee is surrounded by many creeks and rivers, and unfortunately they flooded out these towns when all of that water came rushing in. Our next video is going to switch gears now and move to Silvis, Illinois. This was a shelf cloud from yesterday. We've been tracking some severe weather across those Midwestern states, and we're going to tell you what the risk is for you today and as we get into this work week. Our last video is out of Parker, Colorado. This was from a couple of days ago when they were dealing with silver-sized hail in some cases. This particular video showing more like penny-sized hail, but many areas in parts of Colorado were reporting these hail storms that were pretty furious in that region of the country just about 4 to 5 days ago. As we take a look at the app first, I've got the big picture toggled on, so we're still dealing with a little bit of Henri. I'll talk about that in just a second. Also those storms across the midsection of the country, and we do have some weather across those western states as well. So let's take a look what's going on. We're going to talk about Henri first and the leftovers. Again, this system lost all of its tropical characteristics over the weekend, thankfully, but boy, what a mess this has been. We still have been dealing with torrential rains and persisting rains over parts of the New England states. It's been like this since it made landfall yet on Sunday, and the rain totals have been pretty impressive. So as you take a look at these, they're anywhere from 4 to 5 to 6, 7, up to 10 inches of rain being reported cumulatively from Henri. And some of the hardest hit areas have been parts of New Jersey, of course parts of New York, even parts of Rhode Island, and of course Connecticut, and then even back towards Pennsylvania. We've had some pretty decent returns as well, because these storms trained one on top of the other, prompting widespread power outages. Multiple storm reports, you can see them here. Most of the wind gusts, by the way, in the Northeast reported around 65 to 70 miles an hour. We didn't get any reports of hurricane force gusts because at that time Henri was again a tropical storm at landfall. But there you can see some of those stronger storms that were firing across those western states as well. A look at the Atlantic Basin real quick to get you updated on the tropics. The Hurricane Center watching 3 areas of interest. All 3 of these don't have a big chance of developing over the next couple of days, but say by the end of this week about a 40% chance. So we're watching that for you as well, and we'll let you know how that all plays out. Several of them could recurve and stay way deep in the Atlantic Basin. The one that's in the Caribbean bears some watching. A look at Henri and time lapse here. You can see over the weekend those storms were pretty intense as it made landfall. Thankfully, this was not as bad as we once anticipated, but still, it did pack a punch, and it's still creating some problems in the Northeast. Meanwhile, those storms are firing across the midsection of the country again today. As we look at our future cache, you can see those storms coming out of Bismarck, and they'll be tracking towards the east through parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, down through the Great Lakes. And then as we get into Wednesday, early in the morning, we can see some pretty nasty storms firing on the backside of that system in Iowa, and then everything kind of lifts northward and eastward, moving through the midsection of the country into parts of Ohio as well. A look at the big picture yet again. We've got a big dome of high pressure across these western states, but we're also noticing some warmer weather creeping back into this area. We saw a break from the heat, but now those 90s are back in play with 93 in Columbus, 89 for Cleveland, 91 Pittsburgh, 90 for New York City, 94 for Philadelphia, Philadelphia. And of course, folks that are without power in the New England states, that is going to feel pretty doggone hot with no air to cool you off. Midsection here, 98 St. Louis, 96 for Louisville, 96 for Nashville. We've got 92 for Charlotte. And then down across the deep south, Louisville, by the way, I said that wrong, Louisville, Kentucky. Temperatures are in the 90s and 80s here. Again, heat indices in the triple digits. It is definitely sweltering across the deep south. 99 for Dallas today, 100 for Oklahoma City. Look at that for Wichita, 102, 96 for Kansas City, and even seeing some warmer trends through the Rockies as well, 93 for Denver. Our deserts, of course, triple digits. We've got a comfortable 66 in San Francisco. Pacific Northwest also looking good with temperatures here in the 70s and 80s for your Tuesday afternoon. All right, a look at our forecast map. Again, not a lot going on, but we are tracking those stronger storms across the midsection. The stalled front could trigger some activity in the next 24 to 48 hours. Big ridge of high pressure means all of those warm temperatures stay in play across the southwest. But again, we've seen some of that fill in across the east as well. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you here tomorrow.